Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So another horse I'm testing for some people and put some mileage on him. He's very nice, Kentucky mountain horse, just a little pacey downhill, but not uphill. So I shim my saddle because you never know. With pacey, sometimes it's the saddle. And it seemed like it was fitting, but I adjusted some things just to see if it's any better, and then I'm taking him back out and testing him. He also needs his feet done. His feet are very long, and lots of people do that. I don't like riding them too hard when they're too long because I don't want to put any more stress on their tendons, you know. So he's overall seems very safe horse, very willing to go out alone. He was a field trial horse. He has nice gaits. I'm fine with him going out just a little forward because we're by ourselves, and this is the part where we're leaving everybody, so it's always good to go out a little bit more forward and come back slow. Okay, so talk a little bit about new horses and stuff. So when you're riding a new horse, even if we say they're great and calm and all of that, it's best to always ride with two hands because you're stronger with two hands than one. And you know, if your horse starts to spin or something, you're not going to block it as well with one hand. These horses just aren't trained as well as like the quarter horses that are reining horses and all of that, where, you know, you might be able to block it with them, but you're always going to be stronger with two hands and be able to adjust their head. See, he's looking around a little bit. So if I have one hand, can I adjust it? Sure, because I'm pretty good with my fingers. So I got one hand right now as I'm passing these scarecrow things. But if I had two hands, I'd still be much quicker at it. So I just went back to two hands. Okay? So don't let your horse look all over in the beginning. Yes, they're trying to see things and check them out, but you don't know if they're spooky or not. So it's best to keep their attention on you in the beginning, and then as you trust them and see what they're like, then you can start being more relaxed. If it's any of these field trialed horses, the good news is they've seen a lot: guns, dogs, horses. The bad news is they don't know how to follow trails because they haven't followed any. They've been ridden all over the place. So you got a field trial horse, steer it, because if I just don't steer, he might just go up that hill in front of me, and that's not where the trail goes. Not their fault. That's just what they were taught, that if I point you somewhere, that's where you go, no matter if there's a trail or not. So you know that about field trial horses. They don't follow trails. See, he almost went off there. They just follow where you put them. So you have to steer and pay attention in the beginning until they understand their new job. Their new job's different. Okay? Field trials, they ride in open land areas. Yes, they're good at camping and trailering and all those things, but they're not used to bikes and other things of that nature, hikers with sticks and stuff, because they don't see a lot of people on the ground, just the scouts with the dogs and the handlers and stuff. Okay? So they're great, but you still got to get them used to stuff, and everybody is so different, right? We all ride so different. Even if we both took lessons at the same place and had the same instructor, we still are going to be different, just like you dance different. So the horse, even though this might be a great horse and know what to do, he's got to understand what you want and how you ride. And I used to think it took a year, and then I talk to people in 2 years, and I go, you know what? It takes 2 years. It really does. And 2 years of riding, not sitting in the pasture. 2 full years of riding, you'll know that horse pretty well. But it takes time, just like when you date someone, right? They're really nice in the beginning. Then a year goes by, and you're like, he don't seem so nice anymore. And then in 2 years, you're like, I might need to dump him. He's a little bit too pushy. Wants to hang out all the time, and I want to go ride my horses. I'll get rid of that one. So, same thing with the guy, right? We want to ride. So, they all seem nice in what we want to do in the beginning, but it changes. You really got to get used to your new horse, and that just takes time, mileage. So, don't overdo it. Take your time. But so this horse kind of tucked his head down too far and got behind the bit, so I changed to a wonder bit because I don't know him well enough to have a snaffle out on the trail in case he bolts or something. You ever been bolted with? You usually want more bit just in case. So I can ride him in the arena snaffle, And if somebody's stronger, they might be able to ride him in a snaffle. But again, he's 1,000 pounds and I'm just 100 something. So, of course he could run away with me. He still could, no matter what. But at least this gives me a little extra bite. So this is a Wonder Bit. I hardly touch it, okay? It just helps to elevate his head up to help me to get it up. But again, in time, if he's really not pulling on the bit or doing anything bad, of course you could go to a snaffle with this horse, okay? But many of us are old and don't have a lot of power or muscle, so like to use things for backup. You do not want to use a miler type bit or a bit that's gonna help pull their head down. Even a hackamore puts a lot of nose pressure on, and that might pull his head down too far. You know, if you wanted to go without a bit, then maybe a bitless bridle might be a little bit better. The hackamores can really tuck them in a lot. The same with the bozels, because it's a lot of pressure on their nose. Sometimes those are harsher than a bit. So, you know, if you're going to go that way, really understand it. Stick your fingers under there and pull on those reins and see what it feels like. I've done that to some people and they're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And I go, yeah, that's much worse than a bit. Pull real hard on them. So we're going downhill and you'll see he's being very careful. I'm kind of letting him go. He's eating a bush, but this is better than he did yesterday. Now I'm going to adjust the camera, so I'm going to let go of my reins for a minute, just so you can see him a little bit more, because you've seen my trails. So, okay, camera's always messing with me. No, he's very good on a totally loose rein, not steering. He's just trying to eat some stuff. But he's not putting his head on the ground. He didn't speed up. He didn't run away. So horses like this are great. They're great for newbies, great for people who aren't going to ride all the time. We just got to say, hey, is there other stuff we need to work on, okay? And with him, again, yesterday, he got just a little pacey downhill, which makes him feel kind of like they're shuffling and not as sure-footed. So with a horse like this, what I would do is fix his feet first, because they're too long. Work them over poles. Anytime you're not riding them, or if you are going to ride them, maybe 5-10 minutes beforehand, you know, run him around, lunge him. Today I didn't do anything. I just pulled him out because I wanted to see how he was. But he's in a big paddock, and I got him out yesterday, so he's quite good. So it's not like you got to lunge him all the time, but don't forget, horses need to run. And get that out before the first time you ride them. And then I would work this guy over poles, because it's only going to help his gait. The more we improve his top line, which isn't bad, the better they gait, no matter if they're trotty or if they're pacey, okay? So you want to improve that top line so that poles do a lot for you, because a lot of you don't have hills. So some of you do, some of you don't. So now I'm riding him with one hand, because now we're past all this scary stuff. He did one little trip, but he does have high heels on. So, and he gets a little trotty uphill. So it's a foxtrot that I was just doing. So when they foxtrot, it feels like you're trotting, but you're like, I'm not bouncing, but it's that same motion. That's how you know you're foxtrotting, okay? But it really feels like a trot. And if you go faster, if you're like, well, I'm not sure, is it a foxtrot or a step pace? Because they can feel the same many times, or very similar. And so if you don't know, you speed it up from a step pace, they go into a hard pace, and you're like, this is horrible. Can't post to it, feels very uncomfortable. Speed up from a foxtrot and go into trot, and you're like, well, this is bouncy, but I can post to it. Oh yeah, this is just like the regular trotting horses do, okay? So that's how you know the difference, but you want to build up their top line. So I'm just correcting them. Again, with what I can ride them with one hand pretty well, but if you're not going to pay attention or correct the horse, it's better you have two in the beginning. Two for at least the first 3 months, and then after that, if you're doing good, you haven't had any bad episodes, the horse hasn't done anything bad, you haven't crashed into any trees, then you can go to one hand, because this horse knows how to neck rein very well, okay? That's another benefit of the field trial horses. Most of them have been taught to neck rein, but he's a good one. Some of them are way too fast for most of you people. And if anything, if you get a field trial horse, ask where it was ridden. The gallery horses go slower and just follow. The handlers, the scouts, the judge, those might be fast, brave horses that might be a little bit too much for you and too fast for your friends, okay? And some of the horses gait correctly, like he gaits very well, but many of them that are going really fast are just step pacing, and you got to retrain them to do a flat walk and a running walk because they're moving out more. And you know, they're usually not working on gait all the time because it's about the dog. That's okay. You can get some very nice ones that are retired from the dog field trials, but check them out, make sure, and then just make sure they're not too beat up because they do ride them long periods of time. So he's doing quite well. He feels much better going down the hills than he did yesterday, so maybe my saddle was digging into him, but I still want to fix those feet. Okay, we don't need super long feet out on the trail. It's just not safe, and again, it's not good for them either. Okay, how many times have you seen a girl hiking on the trail in high heels and you're like, what happened, did she get lost last night? Nobody hikes out in high heels unless something's going on. So, but you hike in sneakers because that's good for you. Okay, so here's his canter. Very nice, very smooth, comfortable, not scary. I was on a floppy rein, but I'm also not riding like this except for that one time when I was checking the camera, okay? Because that's a good way that the horse then doesn't pay attention, they start tripping. So if you go to one hand, make it short enough, you'll see my hand is out in front of this bag, like about 4 inches, and I hardly touch his mouth at all, okay? Can you do this with a snaffle? Yeah, but snaffles are not made to neck rein. Okay, so use something like this, and with the Wonder Bit you can hook it to that big circle if you want to do arena work and you don't want to be in his mouth, you know, and that'll make it much less pressure and less of a leverage bit. These Wonder Bits have a couple different hooks on it, and I know some of you are going to go, that's a gag bit. Yeah, I know that. I had the same thought as you when I started the Gaited horses, and I didn't know about these bits, and then the more I studied him and used them and did all these things, I go, you know what, they really do help, and you got to use it right. I'm not hanging on them. Most of the people that use the bits aren't, and I've seen more people hanging on snaffles and hackamores or bitless. So you just got to learn, don't be afraid to touch your horse's mouth, but once they know what to do, you don't want to be hanging on them. You just want a light contact so you have communication if you need it, and if you don't, just once in a while give a little half halt like, hey, I'm still up here, and a little job to do so they remember. Okay, so he's doing really well. I really like him so far. Okay, it's hard to come to a new place, have a new rider, and go out somewhere by yourself when you don't know what the heck's going on with your life. You're like, why am I here? Who dropped me off? Where'd my friends go? Okay, and that happens to horses all the time, and I find it very sad that then people just rush them through stuff, and then they're like, this horse won't work for me, and 2 months later they're selling it. Okay, you didn't put any time in. That horse put much more time into your relationship than you did. So take the time, figure them out, and you know, figure out, why this horse come into my life. Well, might be because you picked pretty over safe. That's the lesson you're going to learn. You're not going to get much money back on that pretty horse because it's probably not trained that well, but maybe that was the lesson, or the lesson was, hey, you don't know how to ride, you don't know what to do, and so you picked this pretty horse, and now you got to learn how to train a horse because the horse knows nothing. So we don't always know the reason why they've come into our life. It's just, you know, you can choose to learn something new, or maybe you already learned the lesson. You know, maybe I don't ride well enough to have a horse like this, and that was your lesson. But figure out what that lesson is and get something out of it. Okay, buddy. So we went up there yesterday and saw the car with the tarp and all that stuff, but it's a lot of rocks. And I'm going to do some arena work, so I don't want to wear them out, and this camera is probably going to go out in a little bit too. But you see, he stands still. Now we're going to turn the other way. Now, when you're out on trail and you're talking to your friends, don't turn towards home, which I'm going to do right now as a test, because of course then your horse wants to go. But he's staying here, so that's a good sign that they're not barn sour. Good job. But when you're out on trail, if you turn back towards the trailhead that you came, or towards the trailer, or towards home, there's a magnet. The horse goes, hey, I want to go back there because my friends are there. Just like if you could go home instead of work, you're like, I want to go home. So if I drove by your house, you're like, well, I'll just go in for a second. You're like, I'm out, not going back to work. Ha! So Oh, he's much better. So I think my saddle might have been digging into him. See, you never know. So if they're pacing, it's usually something's pushing down on him. His back dips down a little bit, and so I just put some shims under right where I sit, like where my legs are and my buttock. And I have that video, like how to shimmy your horse, okay? Or maybe yesterday he's like, I don't get how to do this, and now he remembered, because usually they don't have a lot of steep hills in the dog field trials, because then they wouldn't be able to keep track of the dogs. But you see, I just let go of the reins by accident, no hands, and he's not going anywhere, okay? Now, we don't ride like that all the time because we're not crazy. I was going to say stupid, but that might insult some people. But we don't. It's like driving your car without your hands. Something might happen. So a deer could jump out. I'm on a rein like that. He spooks because the deer almost hits us. I can't grab my reins. He bolts down the hill because he's afraid. The reins go over his head. They snap. I got no way to stop my horse because we just met each other, so he doesn't know my seat and all those things. Okay? So that's why I said it was stupid. So I like to have some contact. It's not much at all. It's very loose. And he's doing great. So he steers off the rein, but he is also steering off my leg. So if you don't see me turning him and he's turning, it's because I'm pressing with one of my legs. So I just press with my left leg, he goes right. So just treat them like they're a ball. And if you want the ball to go to the left, you push with your right leg. Okay, I have that video, how to steer with your leg. So all you got to do is go to my channel and search these things and they'll come up. So tons of stuff you can watch when you're bored or you can't sleep. Okay. So doing fantastic with his high heels. Now, he wasn't a show horse, again. So the guy who sold him, maybe he didn't have time to do him before he left. Maybe he only shoes them every 3 months. You know, you never know with people. If you don't know, you're supposed to trim them or shoe them every 6 to 8 weeks, okay? When you don't have money, you try to go 8 weeks. If you don't have money, try to go barefoot and just put boots on them, because you could trim them yourself and then have your farrier guide you. It's not going to be perfect, but it'd save you some money. I don't recommend shoeing yourself because that's much harder, and you really should have a good farrier do it, because some of the shoe jobs that I see when people send up their horses, I go, well, that's horrible. Oh, your horse is a tripper. I guess I know why, because their toes are so long, they got no heels, they got no support. So I'm letting him find his way, because again, when I'm testing, I'm trying not to help them. He's doing fantastic, much better than yesterday when I didn't have the video on. So he's doing good. I'm just leaning back and pushing on my stirrups to keep my weight out of his way, but he's doing a great job. So there's some bad farriers out there. So I've said some people send some horses and they're like, he's on the trotty side, and I look at their feet and I go, well, if you're going to do those tricks with his feet that people do, you did it the wrong way. And then I've had horses that are pacey, and I go, did you do something weird with their feet? And they go, yeah. And I said, well, you did what you did for a trotty horse. So you got to be careful what you do. And then your shoer might have its own ideas. Hey, you told me it's pacey walking horse, I'll make its feet long. Okay, long foot, maybe a little bit heavier shoe. So again, we're doing it naturally. So you got to talk to your farrier. Hey, I sent a picture of this lady online, and she told me my horse's feet were a little long, had too much toe. That's probably why he's tripping. So can you shorten that back? I'll get some x-rays so we see how much foot. And my vet will tell you can take 3 inches off its toe because it's extremely long. But if you don't have the x-rays, you don't know how thin its soles are, and you don't really know how long its toes are compared to its bone. So it's always helpful for people to get x-rays of their feet and just get a baseline. Even if you find out something's wrong, it's better to know sooner than later, so you can do maintenance things for the horses. And they're a couple $100, definitely worth it. Okay. But some shoers are better than others. Some think, you have a gaited horse, so as soon as they hear gaited, they're trying to help you out, so they start doing these weirdo things, and you're like, no, we're natural. So shoe per his angles, make sure I get some heel support, because a lot of these horses had long toes and no heels, so you're trying to stand them up just a little, to get them to have a regular foot, or they've had pads or packages or whatever, and their frogs are disgusting with thrush, and you got a lot of work ahead of you. So if you're buying online, you're not going to see the horse. It's good to have them pick up the feet Make sure it's that horse's feet too. I've seen all sorts of scams. And make sure you see what the underside of his foot looks like, what its heels look like. There's so many bad things. Humans are just, I don't know, they're just not so nice. Okay? So having a balanced foot makes a huge difference in the soundness of your horse, and also if it's a trippy horse. And yes, you can do little things if they're trotty or pacey, just don't do anything extreme. But if you need it to be a little longer, you can. The pacey people make their front feet a little longer. The trotty horse people, they make their back feet a little longer. Just helps to change the timing. Now there, he caught his foot. That's okay. We're on uneven footing. He's trying to go on the higher part of this trail, so I'm pushing him down. But he's being very careful, and it was one little tiny stumble with his high heel feet. And then he did one little pace right there, but he really hasn't been pacing today, and I'm not really riding him any different. That's how you know. So I just tell people, don't knock it till you try it. So I test lots of things. I was a hunter jumper, dressage, snaffle only, got bolted with many times. And I said, I'll never ride in a Western saddle. I'll never ride with a shank bit. And look what, I'm doing both. Okay? Never say never. So we learn, we change our thought process, and we open our mind to things, and guess what? Now I'm a gaited trainer. Right? I did not plan on doing this. It just happened. So go with the flow. You might learn a lot. All right. So he's doing great. He's not rushing home. Again, I'm going to drop the reins just so the new owners see. There's your reins. So he's good. Let's pick them back up. So nothing stupid happens like that. He just walked us into the poison oak. He's like, how about that, Gaye? Is that stupid enough for you? Yes, it is. So horses usually don't get poison oak. I've seen them eat it and everything, but you be careful giving them kisses because you could still pick it up from them. We have lots of poison oak here, so that's another reason you always see me riding in long sleeves besides the getting out of the sun. All right, so overall very good. I still have to test him with other horses to see how he does. You never know. They can be great alone and jerks with other horses, and those are usually the brave horses. And then you might have a horse that's great in groups and very bad alone. Those are usually the follower horses. So it just tells you what you need to work on. If I have to choose for a client, I just tell them, if you're going to ride all alone, get that brave one, that one that's a leader. If you're going to ride in a lot of groups and just occasionally alone, I recommend you get a follower and you learn how to push that horse and make it go out there. You should learn something anyhow. So otherwise, you get the brave one, you ride in groups, you're pulling on the horse the whole time. You get the follower and you ride alone all the time and you're kicking it all the time. So know what you're getting. You can change them all, but you know, if you don't like training, you don't like learning, get easier, not harder. He's like, how long can this lady talk? You'd be surprised. When I go to clinics, I talk 9 hours a day. And if you're wondering about clinic, I do some clinics. I'm a horse trainer though. I'm a little bit of a clinician, but I do not want to be on the road all the time. I don't like it. I like to travel some, meet some new people, and I'm mostly doing it not because I want to travel, but because I want to help you guys, and I know some of you don't have anybody to help you. I do online lessons. They usually work quite well. We can do them a couple of different ways, either with the Pivo. I've done it through WhatsApp. I've done it through Facebook Messenger. You know, with Pivo, you don't have to hold it, so you don't need anybody. With the other things, you do need someone to hold the camera. And sometimes just pointing one thing out can make a huge difference. Like, is this correct? No, it's not. Okay. Is this, you know, the right gait? Yes, it is. You're well on your way. Keep practicing. Don't go too fast. Stay slow. Get that footfall. Okay? Gaited horses are difficult, but not if you break it down. It's mostly put basic training on them, because most of them don't have any. Stay in the arena, get that done. Then start working on their gait. Get a 4-beat walk. Start with that and get that walk really set before you start going faster. And if you just do it all in steps, it becomes much easier. Tricked a little bit into getting that gait, and So then you end up with this horse that they've done some weird things to get the gait, and you're like, I can't get him to gait. And I'm like, no, because he never gaited right in the first place, so we got to go back. But if you take it slow, go in steps, just like anything, it becomes easier. You skip all those steps because these horses have had so poor training. Well, guess what? Bad things happen. They're trippy. They don't know how to steer. They don't stop. They're bolting because they haven't been exposed to things. And it just takes time. So take a step back, practice in the arena or the round pen where it's safer. That's why people practice in those places, because it's quieter, it's safer, your horse can concentrate. And like him, he's being very good. But did you see me just go like this a minute? Because I want to make sure he's not falling asleep. I'm testing him. But I don't want him to go flat on his face if he's not paying attention. We're not eating. So, and the eating thing is hard. We're stuck in a single track right now. And they can fall over in these things. So if your horse is eating all the time and you have short grass, you can pull them up, you can put their feet to work. But if it's tall grass, hey, it's hard for all of us, even instructors and trainers. So you just put a grazing muzzle on and use that, okay, till that grass dies out. Because you have one that keeps snatching grass, it's going to drag you somewhere. And I've seen people fall off just because their horse pulled them over to some grass and really got hurt. Like they had bad balance, they fell off and broke their wrists or broke other things. So don't let them do that. All right, so we are going to go down a step down in a minute, and he did pretty good yesterday, but we'll see how he does today. So I'm shortening up a little bit so I make sure he's paying attention. So always make sure they're paying attention when they're going downhill. I know lots of people lean back and grab their saddles because they have poor balance, and that's fine if you're older. If you're younger and it's just because you're out of shape, well, you better get working out. Okay, here's one right here. He's not paying a whole bunch of attention, but he did it good. So you're trying to get yourself better. Don't always depending on the saddle. You know, work on your balance and then try to sit back and not hold on as much, or have your hand right there so you can grab it if you do start to lose your balance. But you know, you're not holding on. You got to push yourself. Okay, so he did pretty good. I would just keep his head up in between the things. And again, for having his long feet, I think he did really well. I think he's only going to get better. So if your horse is tripping, if your horse is pacing, don't forget saddle fit, because anything that pushes down on that back, their wither, their neck area, and makes them uncomfortable, they try to avoid the pain. So instead of raising up underneath the saddle, which we want them to do for engagement, they hollow their back out and they invert their back to get away from the saddle because it's painful. So remember that, because sometimes you can add shims if the saddle is big, or it's, you know, digging into an area if you can't afford a saddle, or you know, you might, the treeless saddles are good if you're having hard problems fitting, but of course there's issues with everything. Just do the best you can. All right, he's doing well. We're going by the tarps blowing and everything now, and I'm just half halting every couple of steps to keep him on his back end. He's fading a little left, but the tarps are on the right. So again, it could be the tarps, or sometimes, you know, if they haven't been ridden a ton recently, they're just weak. It's going to get better. Just work them. Okay, here's our tarps. All right, I think he's going to be fantastic. Just expose him to everything, and then we'll see how they do. But just remember, everybody, it takes a couple years to get used to your horse. It's not magic, it's time. Bond with them, take the time. So many have been passed around so much, they have no idea what's going on, and most of the time when they leave, like even though they might be friendly with me, once they leave, they get shut down because they're like, great, now I'm passed along again. Where am I going now? Who are my friends going to be? So it takes a while for them to trust you, trust their new friends, and trust that they're actually going to get a permanent home. So if you can, pick the best, you know, that fits your needs, not the prettiest, but It really doesn't matter in the end how pretty they are. We all lose our looks. So get the best fit, the one you get along with, the one that you can ride. That's not too much horse, but not too much of a dud either. And you'll be happy. But get the prettiest horse that you can't ride, and it doesn't matter how pretty it is. You're not going to like it. And I think he's very pretty, but he's just like a smoky black with some gray in his mane and stuff. To me, I think he's flashy. I think he's safe, and he's got a real presence, even though he doesn't have the color. Now you're going to be like, what's he look like? So I think I got a picture of him, right, just standing there, that we'll post on the video. All right, there you go. Happy trails. Remember to like and subscribe.